In July, Steve Bannon was found guilty of 2 misdemeanor counts of contempt of Congress for defying the subpoena that had been issued to him roughly 1 year ago. And yesterday, the DOJ went to court for the sentencing of Steve Bannon. He has not yet been sentenced, but they had to put in their recommendations of what kind of penalty they want him to face. And the DOJ went literally as hard as possible against Steve Bannon and requested 6 months in prison and a $200,000 fine, which is the maximum penalty under the law for the 2 misdemeanors that Bannon was found guilty of. So why is the DOJ wanting to impose the maximum penalty against Steve Bannon? Well, as they explained in their sentencing memo, they've got their reasons. One of the reasons, they said, was because they recently learned that Steve Bannon was in contact with one of Donald Trump's lawyers, Evan Corcoran, and Corcoran was in contact with an FBI agent, and through the FBI agent, Corcoran was trying to get the January 6th committee to drop the charges against Steve Bannon in exchange for his cooperation. So they said, listen, there's these underhanded deals trying to happen behind the scenes, which, by the way, is the exact same thing as if Bannon had just complied with the subpoena in the first place. So the guy was literally willing to comply. He just didn't want to because, of course, he wanted to act like the big tough guy fighting back against the government. Because I hope everybody realizes what I just explained. He had Trump's lawyer working with the FBI guy who told the January 6th committee that, hey, if you just drop the charges, then he'll comply. Which would take us back to the beginning where he would comply with the subpoena in exchange for not being charged, which is what would have happened had he just complied with the subpoena in the beginning. He had the chance to do that. He had multiple opportunities to do it. He had almost a year to do it, and then didn't do it until right before he was found guilty. But there's much more. This is what the DOJ lawyers said in their sentencing recommendations. Through his public platforms, the defendant has used hyperbolic and sometimes violent rhetoric to disparage the committee's investigation, personally attack the committee's members, and ridicule the criminal justice system. The defendant's statements prove that his contempt was not aimed at protecting executive privilege or the Constitution. Rather, it was aimed at undermining the committee's efforts to investigate an historic attack on government. To put that in other words, the guy wasn't objecting to the subpoena because he thought he had legal rights to not comply. He was objecting to the subpoena because he hates the government. He hates the committee. He hates these people. We have proven that. We have the statements. What more do you want? Hit him with the maximum penalty because this guy did it on purpose because of his contempt in so many different ways for that committee. The sentencing will likely happen very soon. We do not know what that sentence will be, but the judge does have to take these recommendations into consideration, and there's a good possibility Steve Bannon might be going away for the next 6 months. Warm weather is still here, and for me, that means hot, sleepless nights. I recently found a way to stay cool at night, which means I can finally sleep through the night. And since I started using Miracle brand self-cooling bed sheets, I stay comfortable all night long. And did you know that traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat? It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses, and it's just gross. Miracle brand offers a whole line of self-cleaning, eco-friendly bedding such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent 99% of bacteria and require 3 times less laundry. Using silver-infused fabrics originally developed by NASA, Miracle brand sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long. So you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with natural silver that prevent 99.9% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. The sheets use a premium 500 thread count sateen weave that's made with USA-grown Supima cotton, which is one of the highest quality cottons in the world. And it's better for your skin. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Clean sheets means less bacteria to clog your pores and fewer breakouts and other skin problems. Go to trymiracle.com/ROF to try it today. And we've got a special deal for our viewers. Be sure to use our promo code ROF at checkout to save 40% and get 3 free towels. And Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle brand. Go to trymiracle.com/ROF and use the code ROF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/ROF.